Good morning, Your Honor. Teddy Parker on behalf of plaintiffs, and I also believe Eric Freeman is, Eric Pepperman is on the screen, Your Honor. I think he'll introduce himself.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Okay, so we've got that. Okay, here in court. Also, go ahead, counsel.
Good morning, Your Honor. Lew Brandon here on behalf of United Natural Foods West, Inc. Also, Jim Neal's on the camera Zoom, also on behalf of United Natural Foods West, Inc.
Okay. Is there anybody else on this case? I used to have a whole large number of people, but I don't see that it really looks like there's anybody else. Okay, so remember, pursuant to a media request, this matter can be fully, subject to being reviewed and recorded by the media outlet that had the media request. And I just give you that friendly reminder since it's been a little while since you all have been in here. Okay, so we said it was pages 21 through 40, case 831-543. What we have is third party plaintiff, United Natural Foods West, motion for good faith settlement determination with third party Real Water Gold Coast LLC. Do I not have anyone from third party Real Water Gold Coast LLC here? Double checking. No, okay. Document 1344 and notice of declaration of James Neal for the support document 1349. Plaintiff Myles Hunwardsen's objection, document 1347, and third party plaintiff United Natural Food West motion to seal and redact confidential terms, document 1345. And so I'm going to need to address the sealing and redaction issue first, because this one appears that this was never set for the hearing and the court never received anything that actually said the sealed or redacted term. So what the court has is what you all did provide me, right? I got the declaration of Mr. Neal. Okay. I have the pleadings that were filed, but do you show, and once again, you were the one addressing?
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, so let me hear from plaintiff's counsel, their position, and see if I'm ruling on something. Let me go ahead, counsel for plaintiff. Who's handling this?
Mr. Pepperman and Sean.
You might not realize you didn't take yourself off of mute. Go ahead, Mr. Pepperman.
Your Honor, I apologize that the court feed had just cut off for the past 3 or 4 minutes, so I didn't hear anything that was just said.
Sure, then let me, short version is the court, to its knowledge, while it received a courtesy copy of the declaration, Mr. Neal did not get a courtesy copy of the underlying settlement agreement. So Mr. Brandon showed Mr. Parker and then gave it to the court just a moment ago. Mr. Brandon, do you want to restate and briefly what your understanding was from your conversation with Mr. Pepperman? The court's just finding out if it's ruling on something. Go ahead.
Sure, yes. So we filed our motion for a good faith settlement, and we had received an opposition to that by plaintiff's counsel. We got ahead of that. We had a conference with plaintiff's counsel. They wanted certain things addressed. They've received a copy of that settlement agreement. We addressed certain information that they wanted to have. We provided that, and based upon the information we provided that, they've agreed that they will withdraw their objection. This was also the same that was represented in the court yesterday in the companion carrier case. Now the court's asking you, Mr. Pepperman, whether or not that's true and accurate, whether or not you received that declaration, and in fact you are withdrawing your objection.
Yes, Your Honor, that is accurate based on the assurances in the declaration. We no longer have any objection to the motion.
Okay, so let's do this a couple of different ways. One, okay. So since you no longer have an objection, then is the objection withdrawn and the court need not make any ruling today? Or are the parties asking the court to say, based on there not being an objection, it's mutually agreed upon? The reason why the court's asking that specific question is, remember, I've got an issue of a document to this court's knowledge. Like I said, Mr. Pepperman, are you aware of the settlement agreement being filed under seal? Or any granting on a sealing of a said settlement agreement?
Yes, Your Honor, I've seen the settlement agreement. They filed the same motion in all the different cases. And I know in at least the Gallagher case, the motion to seal was filed and the settlement agreement was submitted under seal.
Okay, and remember Gallagher is not before this court, and since these were coordinated for discovery, this would not apply, right, to a coordination, even under the coordination order. Each pleading had to be filed in each specific case before each specific judge. Where I'm really trying to ask the question, counsels, is if there is a request to seal something still pending before this court, the court's gonna have to evaluate it under Supreme Court Rule 3 and make a determination. If it's a moot point because the parties have already come to an agreement and this objection is being withdrawn to the court, well, I still have a motion for good faith, right, which I'd have to independently evaluate under 17-245 doctors, MGM factors, etc. So where I'm trying to get an understanding is there a request that even though there was not anything provided to the court, right, in a manner that it could evaluate a Supreme Court Rule 3, is that now being asked today? Or somebody's saying the court doesn't need to do so, even though I have a pending motion for good faith? If the parties are saying they still need the court to do so, then I need to know if there's still a request out there, right? Because if not, the court would have to do as part of the record. I'd be asking you all to put terms, right? The evaluation of terms on the record, which could include potentially the monetary amount, which you may be asking the court not to do, but I need to know what you're asking.
I think it's moot, in terms of their withdrawing their objection.
Right, but counsel, as you may be aware, right, motion for good faith settlements, the court needs to independently do an analysis under 17.245 MGM, Doctors versus Vincent, etc. Right? And in order to do that evaluation, right, all those prongs is you need to evaluate everything, including the amount, right? So that's why the court's asking the question. Mr. Parker, you were standing as well. Did you wish to be heard?
I do understand exactly what the court is saying. I'd like to look at the settlement agreement one more time, Your Honor, if I could.
Okay, Marcia, would you mind handing back? Because remember, the court balances everything under Supreme Court Rule 3, right, including the public's interest to know. So I need to evaluate all of that as well. And if this is something that you all need to discuss among yourselves and evaluate, and you need me to continue today's hearing because you think it might take a little bit of time, the court's fine with that. So I just need to know what you're requesting.
No, I don't think it needs to be continued, Your Honor. I was checking one thing just to make sure. And there appears to be a difference here that I need to speak to Mr. Brandon about.
Okay, would you all like me to maybe continue the hearing?
This
Go on with
won't
another
take,
one?
this won't take but a second, Your Honor.
Okay.
I promise.
No worries. I just have everybody else on my docket I want to fully take care of as well, so. And do remember, if you haven't pushed down, those microphones are pretty sensitive. Councils, would you maybe, I mean, I can call
Yes.
another matter or two and then recall you if you want, if you all need to discuss things among yourselves.
We need to take a second, Your Honor.
Okay, so is that agreeable? Everyone, I'll just recall this matter and I'll
Yes.
call a couple ones in the meantime, so everyone else gets an opportunity to be heard. Appreciate it.
Your Honor, I had a discussion with opposing counsel.
Hold on a second. Since I had an intervening matter, do we need reappearances? Okay, Madam Court Recorder is just gonna put same attorneys, same appearances. Go ahead, please. Mr. Brandon, I need you, much as I know who you're speaking, can you just make sure, identify yourself?
Sure. Lew Brandon, here on behalf of third-party plaintiff, United Natural Foods West. Your Honor, what I can do is I'll submit the sealed document correctly to this court. And I've spoke to plaintiff's counsel, and perhaps we continue this 30 days, so the court can take a look at that sealed document, and we can then address the motion for good faith settlement and those factors.
Sure, do you need 30 days? I mean,
No, I just wanted to make sure.
I don't know what your timelines are trying to do. I mean, if you need this within, I mean, you have to shoot in. If you're asking me to continue this hearing, I can continue the hearing, right? If you're, because what it appears happened, okay, on 12/17, you did file a document, right? Like I said, it was document 1345. But the problem was, and since it did not have any underlying document, it appears it never got set for hearing. So I can treat, since that was actually a motion, right? And it's now, it's like, as long as I do it 28 days, I mean, I continued for, you can supplement with the underlying proposed document that you asked to be sealed, you know, it's an errata. So if you want 30 days, you can have 30 days. If you want something less, as long as it's more than 7 days because of some of our scheduling stuff, then we can do that as well. What meets the parties' needs, all the parties' needs.
2 weeks is fine, Your Honor.
That's fine with us, Joe.
Okay, can we do a 2-week date? What do you just? Now, remember, this should really normally be a Tuesday or Thursday because we had the holiday Monday. We moved some of our stuff to Wednesday. But since this is a business court case, it'd be a Tuesday or Thursday at 8:30.
Sure, so 2 weeks will look. So February 4th is a Tuesday at 8:30.
Okay, February 4th at 8:30. Does that meet everybody's needs?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody else wish to be heard? No, okay, so then we're continuing this, and so what we're gonna continue is we're both gonna have the motion for good faith. And as well as we're going to set, which should have been set, okay, and like I said, clerks are absolutely wonderful. They get thousands and thousands of documents, and so here's this one. Didn't get set, so we're also gonna set the third party Plaintiffs United Food West motion to seal and redact confidential terms, which originally filed as 1345, but we do need the supplement with the actual underlying document that's being sought to be sealed, okay?
Yes, thank you for your patience, Your Honor.
Appreciate it. Thank you so very much. That takes care of pages 21 through 40. Hope everyone has a great rest of your weekend, a nice holiday weekend, and we are moving
Your
on.
Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, 10 o'clock.